Hi, my name's Amanda Wynne. Welcome to my YouTube channel. I'm a horror writer, and I'm excited to create this space to share my stories with you. This is a short horror episode where I'll be reading one of my short horror stories, followed by a brief discussion on the background. This episode, I'll be reading Top Deck on the Number 5, which was published online in September 2022 as part of the Write On Showcase. Top Deck on the Number 5. Bright number 5 bus finally emerged from the purple-tinged evening. Zara, a young woman in a blue tunic with headed hair, joined the silent shuffle to climb on board. Downstairs was standing room only, so she reluctantly coaxed her tired legs up the stairs. Happily, the seats by the bulging front window were free. Zara dropped gratefully into the seats on the right and rested her cloth bag in her lap. Someone behind her kicked a bottle as they made their way to the back of the bus. The glass rattled over the floor, coming to a stop against a metal pole. Zara sighed. The bus whirred to life, and they were off, winding through the town centre as the night drew in. The bottle rattled across the floor with each turn, occasionally kicked by a passenger to help it on its way. Zara slid her hand into the cloth bag and touched the small string-bound circle made of metal tacks and a willow twig at the bottom. The circle charm was supposed to shield her from such daily annoyances as glass bottle footsie. It was only a mild charm, but it should have been enough for a situation like this. The bus had only made it as far as Barking Station, and she already had a headache from the relentlessly rattling glass. The bus shook as people filed on. Zara stared blankly ahead, fingers still touching the charm in her bag, willing the seat beside her to stay vacant. A man came and sat in the seats on the front left, but no one came to take the empty seat beside Zara on the right-hand side. Small mercies, she thought. Maybe she wouldn't need to completely redo the charm when she got home. Always hard to get the potency right, she mused, when you didn't want to use magic to cheat too much. The man on the left was shifting in his seat as the bus drove on. He pulled his phone from his back pocket. "Hey there, how are you?" Zara jumped. She looked over to see the man holding his phone at arm's length. He was grinning at the screen. A connectivity-slurred voice greeted him loudly in return. Unbelievable. Zara sniffed and turned her attention back to the window as the bus continued its slow stop-start journey through the streets. She hadn't realized how hunched her shoulders had become until the man ended the call. Silence, with the undercurrent of the electric bus engine, returned to the top deck. Out of the corner of her eye, Zara saw the man turn his phone to the side and tap the screen. Oh no, no. The sound of gunshots and shouting streamed out from the tiny speaker at the bottom of his phone. Oh no. Zara sank into her seat. The gunshots and shouting were replaced by high-paced, frantic music. Zara felt her pulse quickening. She said a silent prayer for someone to come and tell him to turn it off. But when she looked back, she saw that it was only the two of them left. Just them and the glass beer bottle that had rolled to the front of the bus and rested in the aisle between them. She looked at the bottle, then looked at him. Now, come on, she scolded herself. She shook her head to clear her thoughts, then cleared her throat. "Excuse me," she said, looking towards the man. He didn't seem to notice. "Excuse me," she repeated, leaning over and waving. The man moved his weight from one buttock to the other, positioning his back to her as he continued to stare at tiny figures dancing on the phone screen. Bottle it is, then, thought Zara. She closed her eyes. The world around her glowed a thick, fierce orange. When she opened her eyes, the man's seat was empty. Zara rolled her shoulders and moved her head slowly from side to side, waiting for the orange smoke to dissipate. She nudged the glass bottle with her shoe. Inside, just barely visible if you knew what you were looking for, was a tiny man flailing in the dregs of the beer. Zara smiled and kicked the bottle to the back of the bus. So, what inspired this story? I think anyone who has ever taken a bus in London, particularly at certain times of day in the early morning and the late evening, will resonate with the experiences contained in this story. A few years ago, I spent a lot of time on buses, particularly the number 5 routes heading in and out of Barking, and I developed a certain affection for it. However, many bottles were rolling to and fro around the top deck. One thing I will never abide, however, are people who do not use headphones in public spaces. And there is a wonderful catharsis in the idea that one day they might cross paths with a supernatural entity that shares my views on the matter. As to specifically what type of supernatural entity Sarah is, she is a being of my own creation, along with Jean, the librarian from Home Improvements. Sarah is part of a growing pantheon of entities I'm building around experiences in East London, and it would be wonderful to bring them all together for a story one day. So, thank you for joining me to talk about Top Deck on the number 5. I look forward to seeing you in future episodes. In the meantime, if you enjoy my writing, I'd love it if you would take a look at my horror novel Flatcoat, available on Amazon and other online retailers. If you prefer to listen rather than to watch, my content is also available on the podcast Amanda Has Haunting Horror, and you can learn more about my work on my website, amandawynne.com. It's been great to have you. Sweet screams, and see you again soon.